Do you want to hear about a bad therapy experience I had? Now, thankfully, I had had a therapist for a few years as a teenager who was wonderful because that meant that this didn't derail my opinion of therapy overall. I don't remember if I was still in high school or not. I might have been 17, but I might have been 18 or maybe even 19. An older guy, I would say maybe in his 60s. And this very first appointment, of course, we go over like what I've been diagnosed with before, which at that point was depression, anxiety, ADHD, and PTSD. So he knew right away that I had a lot going on mental health wise. And of course, start asking some of like kind of the basic intro questions and asked, so what are you here for? Like, what are you wanting to work on? And I felt very like put on the spot and my mind just like completely blanked. And it was probably only just like a couple of seconds that I like couldn't think of something, but I felt very self-conscious. I have anxiety a lot in general and a lot of social anxiety specifically. And so I felt awkward that I couldn't think of something right away. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna call it like it is. So I just said out loud, um, gosh, I'm anxious and so I'm just blanking right now, like I can't think of anything. And for me at that time, especially, but honestly, even now, just like calling out and like being super vulnerable and super honest that, like, man, I'm so anxious that my brain's not working, basically, is what I was trying to say. Like, that's hard for me. That kind of vulnerability is hard for me, especially with somebody that's like a stranger. I just met this person 5 minutes ago. And his response to it was so terrible. For some reason, he appeared angry all of a sudden, and he said, "So I guess you don't even need to be here then?" And that made me even more anxious. And so I tried being like, "Oh, no, no, no. And like, I'm not trying to say they don't need therapy. Like, I don't know exactly what I said, but basically tried to communicate that, like, I totally think I need therapy. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm not trying to, not at all trying to say I don't need therapy. I'm just blanking." But like he didn't like yell at all, but there was like a definite tone to his voice that was like definitely irritated. Um, Definitely seemed to like think I had bad intent for some reason. And then he asked me if I had like had behavioral problems in school, like if I'd ever been kicked out of school or if I had like a lot of detentions or anything like that. And I'm like, no. Asked if I had ever like gotten in trouble with the law or anything like that. And I said no. And he told me that he has like a lot of history of working with kids who have been like in juvie or otherwise like involved in the court system. And he's like, so you're saying that like you get pretty good grades and you don't like get in trouble at school, so like I don't know why you're here. And I I don't know, like it just really felt like he was like really stuck on making me feel bad for having said that, or maybe I don't know, maybe he also thought I shouldn't be there. Like maybe he assumed that like if you're not in like legal trouble that like your problems aren't big enough. This was a like community mental health place. I had Medicaid, and so I knew that like this was a place that accepted Medicaid. And I have heard since then that these places are like really, really hard on therapists, that they have like way too many clients and that they're really overrun. And so I don't know, maybe he was just kind of unempathetic to my problems if I'm not like causing problems for other people so much. But it, I had so much anxiety, and him being upset with me just kept making me feel more and more anxious. And I just wanted to leave the session so badly. Like I knew there was no way that I'm going to like maintain a therapeutic relationship with this person because it was terrible. But I was like way too much of a people pleaser to even like consider like you can just like get up and leave. Like I felt like I had to sit through the end of the session. And he gave up on even trying like the rest of like the regular intake questions. He ended up like talking to me about how he's into snowmobiling and kind of talking about himself a lot. Like I don't know if he was trying to build rapport or I don't even know how that happened. But yeah, that was a really rough attempt at seeing a new therapist, and I did not try again for like a decade. And now looking back, I think that's so unfortunate. I had a lot going on, and I guess kind of ironically, like I think kind of being the good kid is almost like a symptom of part of my problem. Like things I wish that I would have realized a little earlier that that was a bad one-off situation, and that that wasn't likely to happen again. Because I really wish that I would have done therapy in my 20s. I had one other not great intake, but it wasn't nearly that bad. So I guess I've had 5 total intakes, and 3 of them ended up being great and ended up being long-term therapists that I stuck with. So if you've had bad intakes, I do think it is worth trying again.